Whether you're a veteran player like me who maybe spent a bit too much time playing the game, or someone who just started playing, here's some stuff that everyone should know. There's 10 things here, so we could start with number 1, transport positioning. I see this from beginners the most, where they put their transport right next to the thing that they are going to transport. What you should do instead is allow the unit to walk, go into the transport, and then move the unit. This is very important because there are spots where you want to get to as fast as possible, and this is especially true for the balloon because it carries 2 units instead of 1, like the wagon here. Now for the next tip, we have range displays. So some people don't know what it means when they check the range. So stripes means that it could move there, blanks means that it could attack there, and browns mean that it could move there but not attack. So some units like the dragon can move and attack, so it wouldn't have any brown spots. And the wagons should only have brown spots. Next tip is that units can pass through neutral villages or neutral buildings. A lot of people forget about this, and then they end up with a suboptimal path, which takes way longer than it needs to. But if you move through villages, like in this example, then you get to the destination you want a lot faster, and there's more spaces that you could reach. This is very important, especially after when you decap the enemy building, because you can pass through it afterwards. Tip number 4 is checking what a building can produce. So you could actually right click a barracks or a tower to see what it could produce. Some maps have limited production, so you could have this way to check what you can build and which barracks can do it. Tip number 5 is transport mechanics. So balloons can actually hold amphibians and carry them around. What people might not realize is that balloons can drop them onto land or drop them onto water. Something strange is that barges cannot do that. So barges can only load and unload if it is on a beach tile. So if it's on the sea, it can't actually unload merfolk onto the sea. It can only do that if it's on a beach tile. Next tip is blocking with buildings. So you can see that here blue has a few mages that are controlling a large portion of the air, but you can still see that red can actually move forward because the building can block the path of the mage, or else the mage can get through and hit the harpies. Tip number 7, don't always trust the Codex. So the Codex has a damage matrix that says how much damage a unit does to another unit, but it's calculated with 0 defense in mind, so most of the time it won't actually be the number that it says. Tip number 8 is thieves can actually go through gates with a special mechanic. So only thieves can do this. It's not much, but you should still keep in mind that this exists. Tip number 9, buy units before healing. In this example, Caesar healed first and then bought his units, but he really needed a golem this turn. So he healed first, now he doesn't have enough to buy a golem. This is very important because there are certain key units that you want as fast as possible. In this example, Caesar bought the unit first and then healed. Notice how the golem came out by just sacrificing a small bit of healing on a sword. And the last tip is small builds and then big builds. Usually, you wouldn't have enough income to keep buying big units every single turn. So what you should do is buy some small units on one turn, and then next turn you can afford bigger units because you saved up. Now this isn't always the case because you want some key units and then you can't always do this, but you notice how there's the same amount of units but you have a way stronger unit and the opponent might not be able to deal with. But if you buy some medium size or small units, maybe it's a lot easier for your opponent to deal with. Imagine dealing with a bunch of mages compared to a few golems. This is still situational though, so you should adapt to your situation and see if small builds and then big builds work for you. So these are the things that I think everyone should know when you're playing PvP Wargroove. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. I do read everything. I'll try to answer them, and I'll see you next time.